Good morning, y'all. So it is Friday, and well, I'm back on the road again. I didn't get much time at home, but that's the life of trucking. Got bills to pay. So yeah, what happened with my violation and the reason that I was over on my hours, the police at the weigh station even went through all my sub menus trying to see if I had my violation warnings turned off, and I didn't, and they said they'd never seen anything like that before, and were digging through the submenus trying to figure it out, and they weren't able to, but they still wrote me the violation. So what happened was, when I got back to the school, I gave my electronic logs over to the instructors there, and they figured it out in minutes. Oh man, your phone's set up for Texas and Central Time. You have to keep your time on Pacific time, at home. It stays on that time. So my time on my phone was correct, but the time on my electronic log was set for Central Time and set for Texas. Now in Texas, they allow you to have 17 hours of work time a day. In other words, if you start at 6 in the morning, you're not out of work hours for 17 hours. Now, it doesn't mean you can drive for 17 hours. The drive time is the same. It just means that you can have 17 hours, what's called on-duty status. On-duty status is anytime you begin a work day, your work hour clock never stops running, no matter what you're doing. It stays running until that 17 hours expires, and then you must be off-duty. And the reason for this is, in Texas, for instance, if you're into like hauling mud from fracking and stuff like that, you can be in line for hours and hours before you get a load out. And a lot of these guys, they spend time in their sleeper base sleeping, and so they get a lot of rest. They're not actually on the road working. And so in the state of Texas only, you're allowed 17 hours a work day. And since mine was set for 17 hours, I never got a warning when I had exceeded my allowable work hours. I never violated on my driving hours, just because I went to sleeper bay and I get a couple hours rest, and I drive a little further, and then I'd stop for fuel and take a break in rest areas, and I took plenty of breaks, and I never exceeded my allowable driving hours, just my on-duty hours. So I sent my ticket into the court asking for a hearing and mitigation, but admitting that I was in violation. I'm going to show them how detailed my logbooks were, really detailed, really careful to be really detailed and in compliance with the law, and show that I was acting in good faith. I was just too new to be into the sub-menus of my logbooks, which were set up for me by someone, and that my only error was my on-duty hours. But if they look, they can see that I still had plenty of rest, and took plenty of breaks, took plenty of time off, and sleeper bay time, and that I was being really careful to do everything correctly. It's just that I never got warnings about my on-duty hours because of my inexperience, and asked them if they could suspend the violations for a period, so if I don't have any further violations, they could expunge them from my record. That's what I'm going to ask, and I don't mind paying the fine. I realize I was in violation, and I owe a civil penalty, and $191, I don't mind. I mean, fine. It's, it's part of the lesson. But violations harm your career. They stay on there for years. It makes your insurance goes up. It makes your employability less. There's a lot of companies, you have violations, they won't even hire you. And so I'm going to ask them to suspend those under the circumstances. Throw myself on the leniency of the court. Hopefully I can get them to say, okay, yeah, the violations weren't dangerous or horrible ones, and we can see you're getting plenty of rest time, and everything else in my logbooks was spot on and good. So hopefully, they'll give me a pass. We'll see. But anyway, I'm at the tire shop right now, getting 3 new tire trailers for the trailer, and bought me some mud flaps for my tractor. Not really required as long as you're pulling a trailer, but if you're bobtailing, you have to have mud flaps. And since I'm here, I had them go ahead and put me new mud flaps on my tractor. Plus, when you're in turns, you can still throw rocks out, and I don't want to hit anybody's vehicle with spitting rocks. So I went ahead and got them put on. And so basically, I got a text at 1:30 in the morning about my pickup time, and that I need to come down here and get these tires fixed. And then my pickup time is in Yakima at 11 o'clock. But the text that I got didn't wake me up, of course, because I was exhausted. I was sleeping like a rock. So I wake up at 7 this morning telling me I was supposed to be in Yakima at 11 for a pickup. Like I started like freaking out. But the boss said, hey, you know, sometimes in trucking it's impossible to be punctual all the time. I mean, you try, but still, I was like, dude, next time call me, because like I'm that guy that 30 minutes early, always, never, ever, ever late. I'll be a day early at my pickups and drops if I can be. I'll leave the day before to make sure. I just always have been punctual. It's a nightmare for me to be late for anything. I don't know why. It's just ingrained in my fiber, and so it's like I feel like I'm already running behind, and like it's hard to like keep that disappointment level down. I just like to be dependable, and but anyway, so it is what it is. So I'll just roll with it. But I texted back, man, I need better communication, man. It's like this will give me a heart attack. I don't want to be late for anything ever. I just don't want to be late. Sometimes it's unavoidable. You get a flat, or your reefer starts malfunctioning. You know, you got expensive load. You got to get right into the shop and get that fixed. You can't be running temps that are wrong. And so, I mean, there's certain things that are beyond your control. But communication was within our control. So let's have some better communication. You know, that's all. I'm not mad. I can't help but be a little upset about I'm going to be late, because that'll make I'm late for my next pick too, because when I pick this, and well, maybe I'll have to look and see what my pick time was. Maybe I won't be late. But you know, if you're late for one spot and you get there and they're like, oh, you're late, it's like, yeah, you know, I'm just like cringe, my blood pressure goes up, you know, and I don't want to like throw anybody else under the bus. It's like, yeah, I'm late, you know, what am I going to say? I had to get tires. That's what I'll say. My tires are bad. I had to get tires on the trailer. It's a rental. But anyway, off 2 picks, one in Yakima, one in like Wenatchee, I believe. My first pick is in Yakima, so that's one I've concentrated on. I think the other one's in Wenatchee. Anyway, no, wait a minute. No, it's in Prescott again, out there on Fishhook Park Road. So, got 2 picks, 2 drops, same places, San Antonio and Dallas. So basically the same route, and then when I get done with that, I'll find out about my loads getting home. It's hard to find loads getting home. You get paid well to go to Texas, but leaving Texas, the loads don't pay as much. There's not as much leaving Texas heading this direction, so there's not such a demand for loads out. So they know that, and it's all based on supply and demand. So, you know, you make good money going down, and you make okay money coming back, and it's better than running home empty. So, you know, I spent like, I don't know, $3,500 or something close to that for fuel on this last trip. And I found out this is an expensive business. You have to pay to play. You know, it's like trailer rentals $1,000, your insurance is $1,000. You know, your deposit for your trailer is $1,000, and after your fuel and everything, well, your first trip, you don't make nothing. You make barely anything. You know, that was like a wake up. It was like, wow, no shit. So that means that you can't miss a trip, man. You're owner operator. You know, your first trip is covering your costs, hopefully, and after that, you start making money, and you just got to stay on task and bite the bullet and stay out there. So anybody who thinks that they were going to get into trucking and keep your hands clean and be a pilot and make tons of money, no. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of responsibility. But you know what? It's a great job. It is. And there's a certain feeling of freedom out there on the road, and it's a cool career. It is. But don't be misled that you're just going to get out here and make tons of money and everything's going to be just gravy. Things happen, you're late, you got people calling you all the time, you know, where are you, what's your ETA, you know, and so there's a little bit of pressure, but I think you make adjustments, and get into a certain amount of acceptance, and I'm a lot greener than I thought I was, but I'm getting it figured out. Anyway, y'all have a great day. I'll give you an update later when I get on down the road and get my loads and tell you what else I learned from my mistakes. Bye.